How to coach salespeople to motivate and to increase performance. So we're sort of moving, right, from this notion of strategy, make sure we're clear. I'm hearing some key comments about it's customer first, it's knowing your customer, it's building the ecosystem behind that. That's our strategy. Now, and I think we're evolving even through that last question into this, which is what makes a great sales coach in your company? Dave?
Yeah, I think the first thing I'll say is contagious enthusiasm wins the day, right? So I don't know how many of you have been salespeople in the past. They get paid a lot of money. A lot of times it looks easy. That is a brutally difficult job. And they get knocked down 10 times a day, every day. So if the sales leader is not able to bring that contagious enthusiasm to the table, boy, you're starting in a hole for sure. So the first one is you got to be high energy. You got to be able to make an impact there. I think the analogy extends, just like you need to know your clients really, really well, you need to know your advisors really, really well, because they're all completely different, right? And so one of the things I chat to sales leaders about a lot is, how well do you know how the advisors are trying to be successful? So do you know the business model? What are they trying to do that makes them successful? And then what are the levers for that individual? What is it that drives them? What is it that moves them forward? And making sure, and we've done some great work supported by Fusion on a coaching conversation where what we talk about is the same with each advisor, but the truly best sales leaders talk about it very differently person to person to person to person, because it is different in terms of how you flex and move. So I would say it's a contagious enthusiasm, high energy, because you've got to be that energy source for your team for sure. And then I think it's an empathy in terms of the understanding you've got for your advisors, what they're going through, how they're trying to be successful, that is the foundation for a great coach.
Excellent. Thank you. Tom?
Coaching to me is the single most important thing as sales leaders that we can make sure happens correctly. Because fundamentally, when you think about what is causing people to buy, and I read some stats somewhere, it might have been from my friends at Fusion, that the purchase decision is based on 20% of the purchase decisions are based on brand. Customers make, in the B2B space, make that decision based on the brand that they're buying. 20% of the decisions are actually made on the product. 10% of the decisions are actually made on price. I mean, how many times have your sales guys said, we need to go lower on price, I can't compete in the market? But the reality is, only 10% of those purchase decisions are ultimately made on price. 50% of every purchase decision is made on the sales experience. So your sales reps, your sales professionals in front of the client, making a difference, again, creating value on the customer's terms, is what makes the difference between being successful and failing, and over 50% of the time. Okay, so if you accept those facts, then you agree that you better be really good at creating a great sales experience and creating value on the customer term. How do you do that unless you are engaged with your reps to help them get better? So coaching, most people think of, that fork in the eye analogy. I hate doing it. I hate receiving it as a sales rep, and as a manager, you hate doing it because everybody perceives of it as a negative. And to me, that's the fallacy in sales. It's actually a positive. It's your opportunity as a sales leader to help your reps get better. And so coaching is about being engaged enough, and this is to the point that Dave is making, engaged enough that you actually know what sales rep is doing what. Are they really good at prospecting? They can make the call and they can get the appointment, but then they get in there and they can't generate any value in the customer's terms, or they can't close. Or maybe they can't even get get their foot in the door, but when they do get in, they close. Their closing rates are incredibly high. So each rep is completely different in their development stage of sales professionalism. So unless a manager is engaged at the account level an opportunity level, at rep level, to understand the strengths and weaknesses of your individual, they can't help them. And that's the sole purpose of coaching, is to help your reps get better. So to me, this is the single most important thing we do, and it's unfortunately the thing that people are most hesitant to do.
Yeah, well said. I think we have, Josée, are you going to wander? Come on up, don't be shy.
Thank you, I'm not usually shy.
I think, this notion of sales coaching, right? It's tough. And, coaching in general is tough, and I think sales coaching is the higher level, right?
I actually think I describe sales coaching as a full contact sport, right? You can't do it from a distance. The further you are away, the less value you add. You absolutely have to get in there.
It's definitely a contact sport.
You've been flying all morning, so we have to give you a proper Montreal welcome.
Yes, good morning.
Welcome, Josée.
Good morning, everyone. My apologies for this.
We're glad you're here, and we've covered sales strategy, so we're not going to take you back to that, but we're on to sales coaching, and would love to bring you into this dialogue, but first, just introduce yourself and give us a few words on your thoughts on sales leadership.
Oh, that's a big question. We finish at what time? So my name is Josée Dixon. I'm a Senior Vice President, Group Benefits at Desjardins Insurance. I've been in this role since September. Prior to that, I was Vice President, Business Development, hence probably why I have been invited to speak to you today and be here on panel. Desjardins Insurance, very well-known organization in Quebec, certainly spreading our wings outside of Quebec. And so a sales strategy for us was very relevant in that we needed to have the right team to propel the message we wanted for branding of ourselves. And I will leave it at that.
Excellent. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Just to take you one sort of down a level, great sales coach at Desjardins.
Yeah, I was listening to both of your answers and I agree. I'll just briefly say, coaching to me, as Tom was saying, is absolutely relevant. And coaching to me means teaching rather than doing. And this is something that we're seeing the sales managers doing. We live in an environment where everybody is hectically running around, and it is so easy when a client calls to do for them rather than to coach or to teach the account executive to do. And so that is, I think, a transformation for us, and it was work in progress for the sales managers because there's great rewards in doing, there's immediate gratification, but there are greater rewards if you're a sales manager or a manager of a team of salespeople to see them shine and to see them succeed. So, I think that Tom has said enough about coaching, and I won't elaborate on that, but for me, that is the key message around coaching and teaching. The second is to provide the right amount of feedback and to do it regularly. Don't wait until you have that formal session together. Do it in the immediate. And feedback for me is not just telling, because that's going to somehow sound very negative. Feedback is about engaging the other to have an introspection on themselves as well, and to seek out the good and the opportunities where we can build on better activities when we are interacting with clients.
Yeah, I think this notion of feedback, and lots of you have heard me speak about this. Fusion, we've been Canada's fastest growing company 8 years in a row, and it's based on the past 5 years. So for the first few years, it's okay, but once you've been growing fast, it starts to be you have to grow fast on the fast, right? The numbers get more difficult. And I always say the number one thing that I believe in the reason that we continue to grow is feedback. And we actually give people a note before they join Fusion that says, you're going to get more feedback here than you've ever gotten in your career. And some of it you're going to like, and some of it you're not going to like. And you are expected to act on it. And people always read that. It's quite interesting in the interview process. And they read that, oh, yeah. You know, and about 3 months in, I love going by and saying, so, you know, we kind of mentioned feedback. And they're like, yes. Right? They got this windblown look. And it, you know, but it is, I agree, totally critical.
Can I build on what Josée said? I think when you think about coaching, you know, the one area that we were really pleased with the work that we did with Fusion was not on our reps, which we've done work on, but really on the managers. So investing in your managers will have a much bigger impact on sales results than investing anywhere else from my perspective. But when you think about what managers are doing today, and, you know, leading trends are, you know, you talked about doing. So from a coaching perspective, you can actually go out there and a sales leader can sell with them and actually help them close the deal, and that actually helps us deliver our results. They can teach them how to do it, so show them how. But the biggest things that we're finding that you really need to have the coaching engagement hours. One is make sure that you get the right resources allocated to the opportunities. So resource allocation is really big. But the most impactful thing that a coach can do or sales leader can do is innovation. And that's in the form of either creating the proper positioning in front of the client or creating a unique value position for the client. And that's where a coach is going to provide the greatest amount of value from what we've seen, and when you really dive down into the detailed engagement coaching structure.
That's great. Awesome. Yep. Let's we'll quickly do this question, and then I'm going to give you a chance at your tables to talk a little bit about this, and we'll get some more sharing going there. But a specific example of a process you've put in place to motivate salespeople. Dave, why don't we start with you?
So I'm going to highlight some work actually we did with Fusion on what we describe as a monthly business review, but it's a process where each sales leader interacts with each of their salespeople at least on one sit down once a month. Some may get more than that, but at least once a month, just a good deep dive on where are we in the business, where are we winning, where are the opportunities, and a very, very, very simple dialogue that just says, what are the activities you think you need to do to be more successful next month? What do you need me to do as your coach in the next 30 days? And being relentless at going back and just making sure we're making progress. And you think, yeah, geez, that's going to be motivational back to that fork, right? But it really does create a ton of momentum because people feel like they're building towards what they're trying to achieve. And you get busy and stuff happens, but if you can stay on that monthly, it just causes that momentum to build and build and build. Right. So it's probably the most impactful process we've done.
That's great. And the build on that, I know one of the things we say is, rather than same story, different month, how do you make sure one conversation builds on the next, right? Making sure that you've got this continuous dialogue, not similar dialogue, different month. Yeah.
I agree.
Josée, for you.
Yeah, this is probably going to sound like a shocker, but it has been our experience that anything that we measure and compensate seems to really be motivational for our sales teams. So, of course, beyond the usual putting a board and making sure that everybody through reports sees everybody's results, and adding a new campaign every year and showing results on a monthly basis and ensuring that sales managers go back and talk about those results and where are we with them certainly helps. But for us, what has truly helped, given that we are writing a new chapter for ourselves, is that we engage the sales teams to influence our business decisions in writing that new chapter. And we called that the recipes. Tell us the recipe to success. And in fact, I think it was Tom who said that, it's not about how much your price is. That is not what we're going to be, what creates new sales. And in fact, in the recipes, no one actually came out saying we need to bring down cost. They did, though, engage in telling us how we could be more efficient from an operational standpoint that would have obvious impact on the cost of our products and prices. But that has really created an atmosphere where innovation and creativity really sprouted motivation in the sales team.